The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and welcome. We have one person currently online with us, so to make sure that you can hear us, if you can raise your hand, that lets me know that you can hear me talking and our audio is working. Awesome, thank you. So we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome and thank you for attending the Office of Surgical Assistant and Surgical Technologist Registration Stakeholder Meeting via webinar today. Today is July 12th, 2021, and it is 1:01 p.m. Before we get started, we would like to introduce the staff members from the Division of Professions and Occupations that are present. My name is Darcy Magnuson, and I'm a regulatory analyst with the division. Also attending is Ophelia Duran, Program Director, and Elena Kemp, Regulatory Coordinator. We will be facilitating this stakeholder meeting. Due to concerns regarding COVID-19, the division has transitioned to a platform that is 100% virtual, and we appreciate your flexibility. As many of you have been to DORA stakeholder meetings before, we would like to reiterate the importance of your comments today. DORA makes decisions every day that may affect your life and your business, so your input is vital in the rulemaking process. Throughout this process, our goal is to create regulations that clarify and explain legislation, ensure minimum competency to enter and continue to practice, and provide only what is absolutely necessary for consumer protection without creating unnecessary barriers to the marketplace. Your input will be part of the information that goes to the director as the director considers adopting revisions to the rules. More specifically, today we will be discussing multiple rule revisions that are proposed to implement Colorado Senate Bill 21092, the Sunset Bill that continues the regulation of surgical assistants and surgical technologists through September 2028 and makes changes to the Surgical Assistant and Surgical Technologist Practice Act. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the board's website by the close of business tomorrow. As this stakeholder meeting is held solely by webinar, please raise your hand by using the hand icon if you would like to speak, and we will unmute your line so you will be heard by everyone. Or you can type your comment in the question section and we will read it aloud. Before we start taking comments, I want to ask that anyone providing comments, please state your name and who you represent. Feel free to provide either general comments on the rule changes or specific comments on the proposed language. Please limit your comments to no more than 3 to 5 minutes and try not to repeat something that was already said. Stating you're in full agreement with someone else works fine and will be noted, which should not be a problem today. If you're using audio through your computer, please remember to put any phones on vibrate or turn them off. And whether you are using computer or phone audio, try to keep background noises to a minimum when speaking. So at this point in time, we do have 2 people now who have joined us. We are showing the draft proposed changes to implement this new legislation on the screen. If you would like to provide stakeholder comments, please raise your hand and we can unmute your line, or you can type into the question function of the webinar and we can read your comments out loud for the recording for the director and also for other stakeholders. I'm sure you saw that the draft rules that are being shown on the screen were also sent out with the blast email notice of today's stakeholder meeting. They're always posted on the program's website under public notices. And anytime there is a meeting or a rulemaking hearing, you can always find that on the department's calendar, which is also on the program's calendar, and the draft rules will be noticed there in case you want to access them at a later date. We've scrolled through all of the proposed changes. I'm not seeing any hands raised. We can go ahead and wait for a couple more minutes to make sure that if any stakeholders who are participating would like to provide any comments. We did just have someone join us. So I will wait a second until that person's fully on. So for the individual who just joined us, at this point in time, we are taking stakeholder comments regarding the proposed changes to the rules that are being proposed to implement the new legislation that was signed into law, which specifically is Senate Bill 21092, which is the sunset bill that continues the regulation of SAST and also made changes to the SAST Practice Act. So if you would like to provide any stakeholder comments, now is your opportunity to do that, and you can raise your hand and we can unmute your line, or you can type into the question function and we can read your comments out loud for the recording and also for other stakeholders. So again, I'll just pause here to see if anyone has any comments. Still no comments, no hands raised. I'll wait until it's 1:07 on my computer now. I'll wait until 1:09 and just give people an opportunity to speak. And then at that point in time, if no one has any comments, we'll talk about the next steps and go ahead and end the webinar. So we'll just wait here for a couple more minutes.
All right, the time is currently 1:09, and we still haven't received any stakeholder comments, or there's no hands raised, written comments, or anybody that wants to speak. So at this point in time, we'll go ahead and continue with proceeding to close the stakeholder meeting. So thank you for participating in today's meeting. All comments and program recommendations will be provided to the director for review and consideration before the director deliberates on the final versions of the rules at the permanent rulemaking hearing. The permanent rulemaking hearing is tentatively scheduled for August 16, 2021. And if you find that you want to provide comments on either Senate Bill 092 or 21092, or on the proposed changes to the rules that were on the screen. You can always submit your comments to our centralized rulemaking inbox, and that inbox is also listed on the notice for today's event. It's Dora_rulemaking@state.co.us. So that concludes our stakeholder meeting today. And once again, thank you for your participation. We're going to go ahead and end the webinar now.